Rog, did you start the recording?
Yeah, I already started.
Oh,
Well,
oof.
shit. Here we go, everybody. What's up, Buckaroos? Here we are, the fucking no, Halo Warrior podcast.
Totally the
All
same.
right, Rog, you're supposed to be mediating this shit, so mediate.
All
Introduce
right.
everything.
So, I'm your mediator. So, here we have the two hosts of Halo Warrior, Swantron97 and Ump Double Ump. How
Fuck
you
yeah,
guys doing?
doing fucking rad, Rago.
All right, Ump, how are you doing?
Uh, I just dropped my phone and my food. That's how I'm doing right now.
That's a fucking mood, yeah.
All right. So, let's get this started, shall we? So, Tournament 1 of Halo Warrior. So, what is the most shocking clear and fail in your opinion?
I mean, obviously, the most shocking clear is long shot. Like, who the fuck expected long shot to just come out of nowhere and just clear, right?
Who
Yeah,
else
it's
making it?
yeah, it's like
Yeah, I mean, long shot. I mean, it was like maybe his second or third term he's ever done. Shows up,
yeah,
beats
really,
the first stage. Looks pretty smooth while he's doing it.
yeah, he looked good. And I mean, I guess Rog was a bit of a shocking clear, not because because I didn't expect him to clear, just because I don't know, I didn't expect him to clear right away.
Yeah,
You know,
maybe
like
Talking King and just it
yeah,
was
Talking King.
the five people who cleared. That was the shock. It was like these five people.
Well,
Like
except for
what a
Phil.
what a motley crew. I
Except
mean,
for
even
The
you
only
Phil,
know,
one
like
of the
we didn't
five
know
that's
like if Phil
probably
was
like
gonna
the
like actually
least
take it
shocking
seriously.
is Phil.
Yeah, but it's still Phil. It's like it's still weird
Yeah. So,
yeah,
what would you
in the
say is the
greatest
most
way.
shocking fail?
um, probably like
Smokey.
Smokey,
Why is
or
that?
well, Smokey kind of like always like in Aborigine. Smokey always did real good and shit. You know, he like well not always, but like towards the end he started kind of picking up his game, and you thought that he was gonna carry on some of that momentum into Halo Warrior, and so far he is not.
Yeah, I guess my most shocking fail for stage one would be, I guess Hunter. So I thought with practice he'd be able to, not suck.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
not
But
completely
yeah,
sucking
so
shit.
at least make it like far. Like I think he failed the jump hang.
And
Pretty sure he failed getting into the jump hang.
Wait, did he really fucking fail
Is that
getting
is
into
that?
the jumping?
Yeah, I think.
Look,
Yeah,
man, a jumper like Hunter should never fucking fail an obstacle like that jump hang. That is not a difficult jump hang. And especially failing getting into it is not really excusable on any level except for just being a complete total fucking dumbass.
it's one thing to fail the hard part, like Schnoz and Flame did. Maybe Sane, those guys. But I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure Hunter. It might have been Sane. No, it was Hunter. It was Hunter. Because
Well,
Sane's like,
Sane
yeah, he
overjumped.
overshot it. Yeah, yeah. So it was definitely Hunter who failed getting into it.
And that's just like it's gonna look really bad if he didn't, but
Yeah, he like feel like last obstacle or something. Like where's
he like timed out going to the buzzer. No,
he actually
it's
got to
been a
stage
minute
three and
since
we just forgot about it.
we just forgot to put it in the tournament. No, but yeah, Hunter was a shocking fail, but I'd say the most shocking would be just based off of jumping experience and skill alone, it'd have to be like Smokey or Fireball. Just based off of like you should always expect them to do good, even if they don't do good. Like we always expect them to.
Well, their records, recently it's kind of like I'm always expecting them to cheese.
Like what do you mean?
Like in the abs, they always failed like all the time. Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
you can never like you could never count on these guys to have a good run.
Well,
Besides
yeah,
like
but you
Phil
know,
or Hunter, like
like
Chris.
Smokey's still coming off a pretty recent total victory. You know, in Rogs, and Fireball, he's always been relatively consistent.
Yeah, relatives.
Yeah,
All right,
out of
so
all like the top jumpers, Fireball is definitely the least consistent.
Oh yeah.
so so going back to the topic of launch shot arrow 76. So we want to elaborate more on this round.
Well, I mean, have you ever seen when was the last time somebody came out of nowhere like this and did this good? Like just kind of came out
Maybe
like
maybe you and Rog's first
Yeah,
tournament. Like I don't know.
well,
that's
yeah,
a good
there's
one.
yeah, like the last time that happened was like me, and then the time before that, like maybe Puma. It's like every
Yeah, I
once in
think
a while
Puma
you
failed
do.
like easy. Like
Well, Puma
still
had
pretty
like
early. I
one
think the
tournament where he
debut.
failed, and then like the next tournament he like made it to the stage two.
Yeah, I guess.
So it wasn't on his
I know if you're
debut.
just looking at hunters, it's like he fails the second obstacle, then gets a deep stage 3. So it's like, yeah,
That's because there's so much time between Hunter's tournaments. Like he had like three
yeah, it's probably like
smoky
8
tournaments under his
smokies.
belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had like so much experience under his belt by then. It wasn't even the same thing. But yeah, you do get those people sometimes who will just like kind of come out of nowhere. And I guess before long shot, I was the last person to do it. And I mean, I guess you could say I was pretty successful, and I kind of left a bit of a mark on it. So I guess this, and then of course Puma left a hell of a mark on jumping. So I guess it's just kind of to see if Longshot can kind of live up to that kind of hype.
And kind of carried the next generation of Halo jumpers, pretty much.
Yeah, it does seem like there is like a new
Yeah.
little group of people coming through. I wouldn't say a
This
generation,
is
but
like this is like sub below like the. He's like even newer than like the Talking Kings and Atlantics and I
yeah.
guess U-Rog would probably fit in that generation or whatever.
Well,
Maybe
no,
like a
because
long
Talking
shot
King and everything,
Jate, that Mumbles
Talking
kid.
King and all of them were after me, and Rog came in the same time I did. Because me, Rog, and
Yeah, whatever.
Flame,
So that's not overcome.
That was before the Roblox
yeah.
kids came in.
No, me and you kind of showed up right when the Roblox kids started coming in. Um, but yeah, Longshot, I didn't expect him to clear it all, and when I saw him actually, I think like when I saw him beat the jump hang, I was like, okay, what the fuck's going on? You know, like this was not in the script, you know, and and then he beats the cheese wheel, and I'm like, well, this is new, and then he fucking beats the entire goddamn stage, and you gotta wonder, like, you do gotta wonder right now if maybe he's just good because he practices, because that happens a lot with with some people is they'll just practice a lot and they'll look good, and then once they like can't stick to that practice anymore, you start to see that they're not actually that good. And
But I mean, this kid's probably like 13, so we'll probably have plenty of time to practice
Yeah.
yeah,
for a while.
yeah, I guess because you do notice that like the prime age for like the up and coming jumpers until they start to like plateau is like from like 13 to 15, you know?
Yeah, before you
Like
can drive, and then you just do real life stuff.
yeah, because it's like as like kind of condescending as that sounds. Like when you're 13, that's like when you start like, getting the amount of coordination you need to be able to be good at it, and you know you start like actually having time to devote to it. And then like by the time you're 15, like you know you've started everything. Of course, me, I started when I was like 17 or 16, I think. So
Yeah, back on Halo 4.
I mean, I started when I was like 13 or something, 12 maybe.
yeah, and then I mean, you're a bit of a different case because you've kind of like on and off pretty consistently like had your like kept your practice up. Like
Yeah, definitely
you'll
when I
have like
started though, I was like 13 or something,
yeah, it's like
right in
you
that range.
just a
Just worked
whole
at
nother
it.
level. Yeah. And so yeah, I mean the long shot in the next couple of years could like I mean the sky's the limit for him, and I think like he'll at least end up being like a solid, you know, like I mean, the least he could do is he could stay where he is right now. I don't see him getting worse than he is right now. Like being like a pretty solid stage two pick.
The British Flame.
Yeah, British Flame.
British fun. All right. So thank you for your take on launch shots. So another one of the five clears we had this tournament was Alpha Puma. He came back after a bit of a hiatus and cleared stage one. So how do you feel about Puma clearing?
He talked a lot of shit about how he was going to clear, didn't he? He called his run before he did his run. He guaranteed a clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting a little more from Puma. I
You're
was a little let down. So, I mean, Puma should really be like a contender for like stage threes and stuff.
I mean, should he though? Like let's think about this. I love Puma and everything, but let's think about this, okay? So Puma, when was the last time Puma was a steady stage three contender?
Probably Smokey's course. Back on MCC.
Like how?
Okay, isn't he still on Smokey's horse? Stage threes most of the time? Or did he
What's
get
the newest?
retconned?
Had
I don't
only
know.
about
what's the-
two.
What's the newest Smoky tournament that's up? Is it 18,
19.
19? And then 20 hasn't gone up yet? Okay, so he made stage 3 in 17, right? And then he failed in
Yeah.
18, and then where'd he get in 19?
He failed the cliffhanger. I believe I was there for his run.
Okay, so you already see that on Smokies, his consistency is starting to waver. And on a Spartan Sasuke, like, have you seen his results on Spartan Sasuke?
Yeah, only two stage one clears in the last 10, not even 10, 11 tournaments, really.
So when you say that, I'd say Puma is a good stage 3 pick when Puma cares. And even then, it's not guaranteed. It's not like, oh, Puma's into it. He's like 80% going to clear. I'd say it's still 50-50 because I'd say that he doesn't have the consistency he once had.
Yeah, Puma was like the biggest fanboy of this new tournament, so I thought it would be a Puma who cared. You know, when Puma cares, he's one of the best jumpers for sure. Like when he comes
I guess
prepared
it
and
was
stuff.
kind
So
of the case when he went into stage one, especially.
yeah, I mean,
I mean, he called that he was going to clear before the run, and to his credit, he did clear. And then
I don't think he called him failing wherever with the spider walk.
and I will get to Puma that I feel like his fail on the spider walk was like just kind of like a fluke, you know, because it felt like
It wasn't a
he already
dumb
had
fail.
his
It was like it was something
yeah
that you could see, like, oh, that could catch somebody. You know,
yeah,
it wasn't like he
and
just did something stupid.
it kind of felt like he had his mind on the next obstacle already, and so when
Rather
he
than the
came onto the
obstacle in front
spider
of
walk,
him.
yeah, so when he came to that jump, he just already kind of figured he was going to beat it. So he was thinking about what he was going to like a couple steps ahead. I've done that before where I've failed because I'm thinking about what I'm about to do rather than what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, it's happened to me too. You know, because especially in that kind of situation where he beat the tough part, pretty much the toughest part of the stage, in my opinion. So he got to the top of the spider walk, and you just kind of let your guard down. You're like, okay, I got that over with, but
Yeah,
you have to
'cause
focus for
you
every
see a
jump.
jump and you're like, oh, that's an easy jump. Like no big deal. And like you never fail it in practice. You like have it so fucking down. So you're just like, whatever, I'll just beat this real quick. And then of course that's the one that fucking takes you out because you're not as focused on it. So you become half the jumper you actually are because you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
But I will say, do you think that this sets up Puma for like a possible comeback in the next couple tournaments? Do you think he could be one of the front runner guys? You think he has it in him?
Oh, absolutely. I think. I mean, I don't really see him going away. I mean, you know, through the course of, I guess in the macro, he would make 5 or 6 tournaments down the road. I mean, I think he'll have certainly get to stage 3. Yeah, probably multiple times.
I don't know because I think that one like if Puma tastes failure one time, like in the next tournament or the one after that, I feel like it's gonna like cut his motivation in half. Because I feel like that's where Puma is right now in his, in his career where he's just like he doesn't have he's not in that 13 to 15 range where he like only cares about it. Like of course it lasted a bit longer for Puma, like maybe like until he until he went off
Well,
to
Puma's
college,
only
definitely.
like,
Yeah. So
oh
He's
yeah,
what,
he's only
20?
like 19 or something.
yeah. And
But
while
yeah,
on that topic, one thing I do want to mention is that he announced going into Tournament 60 on my course that he would be retiring, and that he's planning to retire on both Smokies and Hunter's courses eventually. So, do you think this could impact him on Halo Warrior as well?
well, I think he
I
intends to
mean, it's
compete
his
on
favorite
Halo Warrior.
show, so he wants to dedicate. Which is why I'm thinking he could do good, because if he's only focused on one course and it's this course, the Puma potential, be
Okay,
achieved, and he could be one of
here's
the top guys.
here's my take on it. If Puma gets his mind right, and Puma actually prepares for this course, and he gives a shit, I see him being maybe the number 3 guy. I'd say yeah, that. If not, he's going to be irrelevant.
I mean, Puma's good enough to where even if he doesn't try, he's gonna be a top 10 guy. But if he's trying, he's top 3 for sure.
Alright, thank you for your take on Puma. So, moving on to our first place finisher of the tournament, Filthy Phil. Is he the GOAT?
I mean, he's the GOAT
Well,
right now on our courses for sure. I mean, there's no disputing
well,
that.
there's two different categories to this. It's like, do you think that he's the best within like the Aborigines Halo Warrior thing? Obviously, he's the best competitor. Is he the greatest of all time? I'd say definitely not. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
like
definitely not.
I'd say the greatest of all time would be somebody like just skill wise, like
Smokey?
maybe Smokey. I hate to say it, maybe just because of all the
Maybe
records
Ree.
and shit he has. Yeah, maybe Ree.
Back on the
Because one
360?
one thing, no, one thing that impressed me a lot about Ree is Ree had his run on the 360 and he was dominant on Hunter's course, and then on Xbox One on Halo 5 he came back and he was still a solid competitor after all that time. So Ree is he's definitely up there, and I wouldn't put Drago in there. I don't think I don't think Drago's as good as Ree,
I put
and I
Drago
don't.
above Phil though, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I honestly I don't think that Ree is, or I don't think that Drago is as good as Smokey either. Um,
No.
which I know that's going to piss off a lot of Roblox kids.
Yeah.
Um, but when it
I
comes to
beat
our course,
Drago.
definitely Phil is hands down the most successful. And I think the question that's going to have to be is he going to continue to be the most successful now that the factors have changed? Of course, in Aborigines, there was no practice at all. It was you came to the course and it was the first shot you ever had at the course. And Phil excelled at that because it fit more to his style in Spartan Warrior that he was kind of that he started out in that he's used to, and then Hunter was kind of the same way, and that's like the old mentality that Phil thrived in back then, and that's how Aborigines was, and some of the older people did better because of that. But now that I feel like now that Halo Warriors is taking a more modern take on the rule set, where they get practice and there's still only one attempt, but now that they like get practice and they get preparation, I feel like Phil's going to lag behind because Phil does not like to practice. And I feel like he's going to be overtaken as soon as maybe tournament 5.
Yeah, I don't know if I see him holding on to like being the guy. I think he's gonna be one of the guys. Certainly like one of the guys in the mix to make stage threes and stuff. But this more modern format, like you're saying, I think will hurt him relative to everybody else if you're trying to like compare people and stuff, like rank them against each other. But this is still one attempt, and I mean, in his first tournament, he got first place again, so he's still pretty good.
Yeah,
But
and
once the series kind of comes to a grind, and there's like a bunch of sweaty guys getting into it. Like, I can see him getting passed by someone who practices a lot.
I'd say if I had to pick one person to pass Phil, um, I'd pick. Well, the most logical pick is Smokey. Like if Smokey gets his head in the game, like Smokey's
Yeah.
dangerous when he prepares. When Smokey like shows up and he's like
He's
serious.
not as bad at a mongoose that he likes to pretend. He comes in. If you listen to him, he's like, "Oh, he's the worst at a mongoose ever," but he's really not.
Yeah,
Like
that's
he
kind of
can
like
hold
a
his own.
that's kind of a joke that we play up, but I mean he does have a deep three in Aborigines. Like think about that. Like he made it all the
Yeah,
way
he has
through what
the.
the
He was the
didn't
second
he?
furthest guy. Like only Phil ever made it farther than that.
Yeah, and so he's one of three people to ever beat the anticlimactic finish in Aborigines. So like Smokey, if he gets his head straight on it and he actually cares, Smokey could be dangerous, like really dangerous. And Smokey could very, very easily become the top guy. And I feel like if Smokey dedicates himself to the course, he will pass Phil within tournament five.
I mean, you can throw Fireball into that ring too. Good thing about Fireball is he's already. I mean, he's already a great mongoose driver. So he's just gotta get the consistency. I mean, I don't want a tip course being inconsistent. It's gonna happen, you know. It's people are gonna fail.
Yeah.
There's gonna be upsets. And so
Well,
there's not gonna be some guy who clears stage one every tournament, you know. But
yeah. Well,
if Fireball
but the
just
thing
he can make a deep mongoose run.
the thing about Fireball is like you don't know if he's going to ever get that consistency because Fireball's been jumping since Halo Ninja Warrior 12. That's a pretty long time ago. That was before MCC. So he jumped all through MCC and he's always been kind of inconsistent, especially on Rog's course and occasionally on Smokey's. And I believe I could be wrong about this, but I believe he's frequently inconsistent on Hunters, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember him ever making like a deep stage 3 run on Hunters.
Yeah. I mean, he got to the cliffhanger in Hunter's last tournament, at least of the ones that he uploaded.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like 3 other tournaments that we don't know about because it's Hunter.
Yeah,
8 years behind.
but
Just like Bubba.
yeah, it's just Fireball. He's just got to be consistent, and honestly, I don't believe he will ever get that consistency. And I honestly think that because Fireball, he's getting to that point where he's starting to get a life, and I think that we're gonna see a fall off for Fireball.
Possibly retire early on in Halo Infinite, maybe.
I don't see him retiring really.
He's gonna Puma out, you know. Because I mean, just a few years ago, Puma was the top guy, you know. And he just
Would you say
stopped
that?
caring as
Would you
much.
say that Puma was the top guy?
On MCC, he was certainly the most talented. I mean, Hunter was like the try hard, grind it out, sweaty guy, but you could just tell Puma had
That's
the
kind of
most
what
like
Puma
raw
was
talent.
on MCC.
I never really viewed Puma as the top guy on MCC. I thought he was like definitely worthy of being an all-star, but I mean like
No,
I always
it's if you were there like in games and stuff, it'd be Puma would always be the first one to like figure out how to do like some crazy ass obstacle or something.
but I mean just from a competitor standpoint, like when it comes down to the bones and the grime and all that shit, I don't think Puma was ever the top guy. I think maybe it was well, I mean, of course, Smokey
Results
can't
wise,
be
it
the
was
top guy
Hunter,
on his own course.
but I'm saying talent wise, it was Puma.
Talent wise, well, no, Smokey has been the most talented since late Halo 4.
Yeah, but he can't run his own course.
Well, yeah, but we're talking about overall. If you're talking about just on Smokey's course, I'd say like talent. It could have been Puma, but I'd say maybe back then it might have been Fireball. Like the last couple MCC tournaments, because he had that deep stage
No,
three
he
and like
started getting good like in Halo 5. That's when
yeah.
Fireball like kind of came to be. He was more like a stage 2 guy back then.
I don't know. Maybe Puma. I don't know. Like I'd say that when it came down to it, like making it to the final stage, I'd say I pictured you having a better chance of making the final than Puma. That's just what I have to say about it.
All right. So thank you for your take on Phil and the goat. So that pretty much
None of that
comes
was
to the
about
end of
Phil.
We got really sidetracked on that last one.
All right. So
No. Okay, hold on, real quick, Rog. Before we go on to the next topic, who do you think is the top guy right now?
Just in all of jumping,
Yeah,
you.
Smokey.
yeah, I'd say Smokey.
Yeah.
Just because it's
Smokey.
hard to argue with that recent total victory he got, and Rog's. It's hard to argue with that. He's the first ever two-time grand champion in a major course.
In like 11 years to that point. All right. So
Anyway,
what would you say is your future predictions for Halo Warrior?
I would say we're gonna see Phil kind of stay at the level he is for a while, and then we're gonna see Longshot get a bit better. I'd say maybe Longshot's gonna get maybe one stage three under his belt at some point, but I don't see him ever doing better than that. And then I figure I figure you're gonna make a couple more stage twos. I'm talking like the next 5 or 6 tournaments. Um, I think Smokey's gonna step up, and I think Smokey's gonna take the position of guy away from Phil. And then I think depending if Puma gets his head in the game, we're gonna or and keeps his head in the game. We already know it's there. We already know he cares. If he stays that way, if he stays caring, then Puma is going to he's going to be an occasional stage three guy.
My answer is I have no idea what's going to happen. You got so many talented guys. We got Phil, who's kind of just on top of the world right now in our courses. But there's so much talent in guys like Smokey, Fireball, Hunter, Puma, who cares? Like, who out of those guys, who do you think is going to get to stage 3 first? It's going to be really interesting to see how it all unfolds. My money's on Phil. I think he's going to be the first guy to get to stage 3. I think he's right now, in the best form for this style of tournament. But once these other guys kind of get used to it, get used to the whole, you get to practice now, but it's still like a one attempt thing. I think they're too good to keep sucking. They're eventually gonna get some results.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Alright, so pretty much around the end, so do you have anything else to add on top of what we've already said?
I'd say that I'm a faggot.
Well, thanks for that.
No, so I think we should I think the big takeaway from here is that the two people to really watch is Longshot and Puma. With Longshot, it's going to be a story about how he takes this momentum and builds on it. And with Puma, it's going to be all about if he manages to just keep his nose to the grindstone and keep his head in the game and play up to the hype that he has been given.
Yeah, I'd just like to mention some guys we didn't talk about yet. Guys like Flame and Gotenks who had solid runs in Tournament 1, but could definitely do better and could easily be, stage 1 if they get a good run in. They're very capable of that.
Flame is a whole other fucking thing for me because you know how I feel about Flame. I think that Flame could be so good, yet he always manages to just fucking fuck it up. And he's just always one step away from being the jumper that I know he can be. I'm not saying I think that Flame can be a top guy. I don't know about that. I don't really think he can. But I think he can be a lot better than he can. I think Flame should be making stage threes maybe every once in a while, like not like
Well, for
super
this course,
often.
stage three is pretty much that final stage for others.
Well,
And really, like stage two is almost like a stage three. So I think he'd be like a stage two guy consistently on ours, and then like stage three is on these other courses.
yeah, well, I think that he has no excuse to have faltered as much as he has in Spartan Sasuke. I mean, he's kept pretty consistent in Spartan Sasuke. How many stage threes does Flame have in Spartan Sasuke? He's competed in all but two tournaments.
4 tournaments. Let me think. So he made it to stage three. His first one came in tournament 7, 9, 12, 13. So that's 4.
So he has four stage threes, which is respectable. But I think Flame's better than that. I think Flame should be exactly where another person we didn't talk about, Atlantic. I think Flame should be exactly where Atlantic is. Where Atlantic is, he's not an unsafe bet for like a late stage two or a stage three. And I think that Flame should be at least on Atlantic's level, and I don't think he is right now.
And obviously, Flame has been competing longer than Atlantic. So
Yeah, and like I mean, I think part of it is I think since nobody's ever really liked Atlantic, I think that he's kind of had more to prove, like when because Flame, like he's not really the most popular, but like he's always kind of been like, our little sidekick, so he's always like been our little, you know, our little buddy that we like kind of keep around. So like, um, he I feel like Atlantic, he's just kind of like been on his own a little bit, and he just had to kind of step up by himself and prove himself a bit more than Flame has had to. I mean, honestly, I've always thought that Atlantic had like ability in him. Like even back in the day, I like when I had that jumping group, I got Atlantic into there because I knew that he had like the ability to be really good. Not really good. I wouldn't say I'd ever see Atlantic being a top guy either, but also like pretty good. And
So I
I don't
guess
know
like
what the
the
fuck's
Flame
going on with
versus Atlantic
coaches.
debate is like at the beginning of a tournament, I would put money on Flame getting further, but say once they get to like a deep, like sweaty stage, like they're both lining up for stage three, I would put money on Atlantic doing a better run. Because
Yeah.
Flame's just got the consistency. Atlantic's another one of these guys like Fireball and Smokey that I don't think he's quite as good as those guys yet, but he's as inconsistent as they've been. So
Well, I think Flame's consistent to a point, except I think Flame chokes in big situations. In situations where Flame has to do good, where like it's like a make or break, like if he makes this, it's going to be a big deal kind of thing. I think Flame falters in those moments. Like he's never beat a cliffhanger. He's failed a lot of stage twos. He's failed a lot of late stage ones. Like on the easy stuff, you will never see Flame failing an easy jump. But
yeah,
once it gets
I mean, except
difficult
tournament
and like
15
more
with Spartan
stressful,
Sasuke.
well, what did he do there?
So he got to the cardo net with the rolling jump, and he failed on the cardo net.
well, that's a
I
tough
mean,
obstacle.
of course there are
You know where
flukes. I
you know
mean,
where you found Swan? Like that's the one I'm thinking of. Like, that was a
is
really
that
tough
was that
obstacle.
was that my last tournament, Rog?
Yes.
Rog, everybody failed that obstacle.
Did they have like two people beat that? Like so Flame got
Long
third,
shot
and
in
we're
20.
like shooting him down.
I wouldn't say it was a super hard obstacle. I'd say it was just kind of like I don't know. It was a weird one. I don't know why everyone failed that one so much.
So love how it just turned into a conversation about the rolling jump.
Right. But anyway, those are our thoughts about Halo Warrior 1 and everything having to do with it.
Yeah, we definitely didn't
All
get
right.
off topic at all.
Yeah.
Not a bit.
Should we mention the British invasion? Right now,
Do you want
there's
to talk
like at
about the
least
British invasion?
5 or 6.
Yeah.
We'll give them just a little shout
Vulcan.
out. You know, we love to talk trash to these Brits, but you know they're actually doing really good. Even
The long shot's
you got
British.
Hunter, who's the token Brit. You
Token
got
Brit.
Longshot. He's British, by the way, in case you guys don't know that. He's
I'm sure we remind
Hunter
him.
Junior, I guess.
You got Vulcan, who I hate to say,
Vulcan,
Vulcan is a solid competitor.
Jonte's coming around.
No, he's
You
not.
guys got like Tex, who are they're gonna
I'd say
beat some
even if,
obstacles in stage 1.
and then you got Soul Man.
Soul Reaper, who
Um,
can.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll show up, I guess.
I'd say even if they aren't doing too good, it's definitely been a definite increase in the amount of British people.
Yeah.
Which sounds weird to say it like that, but like, I mean, that's what it is. Anyway, anything
Alright.
else?
I think that
I
will
guess,
cover everything. So thank you two for coming in, and I guess we'll see you in tournament 2.
Hell yeah.